According to the most trusted Islamic sources, the Prophet Muhammad married a girl named Aisha when she was 6 years old, and the marriage was consummated when she was 9. This isn't speculation, it isn't hearsay. It's recorded in Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and confirmed by Aisha herself. These texts are considered authentic by the overwhelming majority of Islamic scholars, both past and present. Muslims believe Muhammad is the final prophet and the perfect example for mankind, which means his actions are not seen as historical relics, but as models for behavior across all generations. In this video, we'll examine exactly what the sources say, how Aisha described the marriage in her own words, what this means for her age and development at the time, and why this part of Muhammad's life still shapes laws, norms, and religious teaching in parts of the world today. No assumptions, no modern commentary, just the primary sources, the historical context, and what they reveal about one of the most sensitive and significant stories in Islamic tradition. Aisha bint Abi Bakr was the daughter of Muhammad's closest companion and the first caliph of Islam, Abu Bakr. She is one of the most well-known figures in Islamic history, not only as a wife of the Prophet Muhammad, but also as a major transmitter of hadith. Over 2,000 narrations in the hadith collections are attributed to her. But what stands out most, especially in the primary sources, is the age at which Muhammad married and consummated his marriage with her. Aisha's own words, Sahih al-Bukhari, 5133. The Prophet married me when I was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9 years old. This narration appears multiple times in different sections of Sahih al-Bukhari, including Hadiths 3894, 5158, and others, each time reinforcing the same details. Betrothal at age 6, consummation at age 9. This isn't a fringe narration. Sahih al-Bukhari is considered the most authentic hadith collection in Sunni Islam, second only to the Quran in authority, and Aisha's account is repeated in Sahih Muslim 1422, Sunan Abu Dawud 4931, Ibn Majah 1876, all confirming the same timeline. There is no major disagreement among classical Islamic scholars about her age. Even Ibn Kathir, the 14th century Quran commentator and historian, affirms this in his Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya. She was 6 years old when he married her, and 9 when he consummated the marriage. Modern revisionist claims that try to inflate Aisha's age are not based on traditional sources. They are reactions to contemporary discomfort, not the original texts. The Quran calls Muhammad a beautiful example, and the hadiths are used to define Sharia law and religious practice. So this marriage is part of sacred precedent in Islamic jurisprudence. In short, the marriage to Aisha at age 6 and consummation at age 9 is not disputed in classical Islamic tradition. It is confirmed by Aisha's own narrations, preserved in the most authentic hadith collections, and upheld by centuries of Islamic scholarship. Defenders of Muhammad's marriage to Aisha often argue, this was normal for that culture, and in a purely historical sense, they're partially right. In 7th century Arabia, early marriages, especially for political or tribal alliances, were not uncommon. Life expectancy was lower, and puberty often marked the threshold for marital readiness in many pre-modern societies. But here's the key point. Muhammad didn't claim to be a product of his culture. He claimed to be the prophet of God, the best example for all mankind. Indeed, in the Messenger of Allah, you have a good example to follow. That verse isn't describing Muhammad as a tribal leader doing his best in a rough era. It presents him as a universal moral guide, whose actions are seen by Muslims as ideal and timeless. So the marriage to Aisha, rather than being dismissed as normal back then, was actually elevated. It became part of prophetic sunnah, a recorded, revered action that Muslims are encouraged to learn from and in some contexts follow. Nowhere in the Quran or Hadith is the marriage treated as unusual, controversial, or even private. Quite the opposite. It's narrated proudly in the most respected collections. Aisha herself repeated the story multiple times, clearly and without hesitation. Later, jurists and scholars used it to set legal precedent for the minimum age of marriage in Islamic law. Even Ayatollah Khomeini, founder of the Islamic Republic of Iran, cited Aisha's age when defending child marriage in his own legal writings. This shows the ripple effect. What Muhammad did was not just permitted, it became permissible. The moral issue isn't whether child marriage existed in other cultures. It did. The issue is that no other ancient figure is held up today as the final prophet for all humanity, whose every move defines morality and law. Muhammad's actions weren't left in history. They became part of religious instruction, and they are still used in some parts of the world to justify child marriage under Sharia law. So this isn't about judging the past by modern standards. It's about whether a timeless example of morality should include marrying and consummating a union with a 9-year-old. From a medical standpoint, a girl at age 9 is not physically developed for adult relationships, even if early signs of puberty begin. According to pediatric health sources, the reproductive system is still in early formation. The pelvic structure is narrow and not matured. Early physical activity of this nature can lead to long-term internal damage, complications with fertility, and serious health risks. Even in ancient cultures, such outcomes were known, but not well understood. Today, we have decades of medical research showing that early intimacy before the body is ready can cause lasting harm, both physically and psychologically. So why would a prophet of God not know about these? When the marriage was consummated, Aisha was 9, Muhammad was over 50. The most trusted Islamic sources say it plainly: a child was married. That relationship was physical, and it's still defended today, not because it's misunderstood, but because it's written into the core texts of Islam. Now look at the Bible. Jesus didn't take power over the weak, he protected them. He didn't lower the standard, he raised it. He honored women, elevated marriage, and said, "Whoever causes one of these little ones to stumble, it would be better for him to have a millstone tied around his neck." If you're searching for what's real, go to the Gospels. See how Jesus lived, see how he loved, see how he sets the standard no human could invent. Don't follow a man who built power through privilege. Follow the one who gave up power to save you. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more truth, straight from the sources. And if this shook you, don't run from it. Test everything, keep what's true, and start with the words of Jesus.